We've got the refreshed Kia Seltos.
I'm refreshed.
Here we go. Sport mode.
And this
Ooh,
is
pretty peppy.
the more powerful version. We're going to get into all of that right now. What's under the hood of this updated Seltos?
A 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with an 8-speed automatic transmission, 195 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque. Standard all-wheel drive for this model, and you can put regular fuel in it.
Now, the base model is a 2-liter 4-cylinder with a CVT, 147 horsepower and 132 pound-feet of torque. It's available with front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. So this is updated for 2024. Have they added more standard features? Let's see what you get.
The base trim comes with an 8-inch touchscreen, wireless Apple Carplay and Android Auto, a 4.2-inch driver display, a 6-speaker audio system, heated front cloth seats, manual front seats, height-adjustable driver's seat, 17-inch wheels, blind spot monitoring, and rear cross-traffic alert.
So those are the key standard features. We're going to run through what are the other updates for 2024. Right now, what are we going to put it in, Andrea?
You got to put it in S for subscribe, and if you can hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when all our reviews drop, and then you can watch them.
And we do this, the couple car review, twice a week. The first one drops on Wednesday.
We put another one out on Saturday.
So make sure you like and subscribe and follow along on Instagram. It's Motormouth_Andrew to see what's up behind the scenes. For me, it's Motormouth_Auto. And the links are below the like button. All right, we talked about it already. This is the updated 2024 model. What are the major changes?
Well, you get a refreshed exterior, interior, new infotainment system with larger screens now. The 1.6T powertrain gets an extra 20 horsepower. An 8-speed automatic transmission replaces the 7-speed dual clutch transmission, which some found to be a bit jerky. So I think this is going to appeal to more people. There is a new X-Line model with X-Line badging. It has a more rugged exterior design with a gunmetal front grille and gunmetal front and rear skid plates. You also get 18-inch gloss black wheels with that trim.
All right, so the transmission is an interesting choice. We really liked driving the dual clutch before. We thought it was like really snappy.
Yeah.
They went to this regular torque converter automatic for the turbo to smooth it out for everyday use. I find though, in sport mode, it's kind of jerky. It's not, it drives better in my opinion in normal mode.
I actually don't love the sound in sport mode either. It's not my favorite. I prefer just in normal mode.
All right, so this is the best-selling Kia in the Canadian market. South of the border, it's Sportage. We're going to get into the trims and a whole bunch of different configurations coming up halfway through in our segment called Questions, Coffee, and Cars. You can say it with me, Andrea.
Questions, Coffee, and Cars. I find the Seltos to have a really nice balanced drive. It's comfortable. The seating position is a little bit higher. I think petite drivers would really like it. The visibility is great. This has got the most power of any of the subcompact competitors except for the Kona. The new Kona is going to have equal to this.
It's a commuter car. It doesn't need to be a rocket ship.
No.
It doesn't need to handle like a Ferrari. It just has to do the job.
And the turning radius is excellent on this. It's great in the city, easy to parallel park. One of the things that really surprised me when I got in this is just how quiet it is. Much improved from the outgoing model. You get it on the highway and the passing power is sufficient.
Yeah, so there's two engines as we mentioned off the beginning. The vast majority of people buy the base engine with the CVT, but it has a chain-driven CVT, which makes it really quite snappy. And I bet a lot of people, if they drove that base model with the CVT, wouldn't be able to tell.
Now let's get into the looks. This is just a refresh. I mean, sometimes with the Hyundai Group, when they do a refresh, you're like, whoa, it's not even the same vehicle. This is a little bit more subdued of a refresh, but it does have a new front grille and new wheel designs.
I like the back. I think they did a really nice job upgrading the rear tail lamps and the way they're integrated side to side. Makes it look a little square and chunkier. It still has a bit of the eyebrow thing with the front headlamps and then the bar that goes across the front. But I think I would say as an update, I would give it a solid B.
This gets 7.3 inches of ground clearance. It comes standard with projector beam headlights, LED taillights, 17-inch wheels, available 18-inch, and a temporary spare tire. Now you can get LED headlights. They are available on the higher trims. It has body colored door handles and also roof rails.
We're going to touch on this a little bit more when we do questions, coffee, and cars. Power liftgate in this, that's a nice touch for this class of vehicle. And if you want the two-tone look with the black roof, that is available. And then you turn your attention to the inside, Andrea, and I think, you know, I would give the outside a solid B for upgrade. I think the interior is a solid A. They did a really nice job of making this look modern, but still very functional with real switches and dials.
I mean, we're seeing these types of screens now in luxury vehicles. So this is a really nice upgrade for the Seltos. And I'm also finding this storage in a subcompact SUV to be quite good. The door pockets are quite wide, and this is deep for a storage unit in a subcompact vehicle.
And the nice thing is, often when they add the wireless charger, it's in a goofy spot and not really accessible. This is just below the HVAC system. It's a nice tray. It keeps your phone out of the way. I love all the switches and dials for the HVAC system. Even though we've got the bigger screen, there are the hotkeys there. You want to go to radio, you want to go to navigation or map, all the buttons are there, along with the heated and ventilated seats.
You got it, Zach.
Ventilated seats and more. So I like buttons.
And it's got a traditional shifter. This is a single zone climate control unit here at the center console, but you do get air vents in the back to keep passengers comfortable.
You know what? It's like the radio, right? Whoever's driving gets to decide the temperature.
Not fair, really, right?
So it's like if this person here is paying for the car and if they want to play country music, that's dealer's choice. Same thing with the temperature.
I think for a top trim, it would be nice to see a dual climate control.
Unless your wife is sitting here, and then that changes everything.
Then she's in charge.
Then it's all overruled.
Well done, Zach. By the way, we're going to go through all the different trims coming up in Questions, Coffee, and Cars. Great question. How about we get into the space?
Something else we're going to touch on in Questions, Coffee, and Cars is the space and how you could use this as a family vehicle. The back leg room is pretty good. Same with headroom. I do find, however, that the seats are kind of firm.
Comparing the Seltos to competitors like the Toyota Corolla Cross and the Honda HR-V, the Seltos offers 41.4 inches of front row legroom, which is more than an inch less than the Toyota, but about the same as the Honda. Second row legroom at 38 inches is excellent, offering 6 inches more legroom than the Corolla Cross and a little more than the HR-V.
And when you look at that, an available power liftgate. Pretty good storage space. Also a nice touch is underneath the floor is a temporary spare tire.
Space behind the second row at 26.6 cubic feet is where the Seltos shines, offering more space than the HR-V and Corolla Cross. Overall cargo space at 62.8 cubic feet is also very good. It has more space than the Honda, but 4 cubic feet less than the Toyota.
Oh, these questions. We're going for a deep dive.
Time now for Questions, Coffee, and Cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
How does this compare to the bigger Sportage or Sportage in the US in terms of interior and amenities? And will there be a hybrid in Canada?
Can I just say one thing? I think this size of subcompact utility is a fantastic replacement for going to the compact utilities like the Sportage or Sportage in the in Canada. Because I think, you know, reality is you could put 2 kids, you could put car seats, you have enough room for a stroller in the back. You know what? You can save some money. Now, what are the differences?
Well, it is definitely a good size, but this Sportage is bigger.
Why did they do this to us?
I know. It's bigger. I mean, it's just a more practical, spacious vehicle if you've got 3 car seats, especially forward facing.
3 car seats.
I mean, that's
for 3
really
car seats,
for a true
You need
family.
a Suburban for 3 car seats.
You don't.
Yeah,
It would
you
fit
do.
nicely in the larger Kia. It does feel a little bit more upscale than this, for sure. I think that there is less hard plastic from what I remember. I also think that this top trim in Canada, the X line, which is over $40,000, is getting up to the Sportage hybrid trim.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think it's a
Isn't it
little bit
less?
too high. No, it's not less. I actually have.
Oh, of course you do.
Okay, so the Sportage, why can't I say it? It's Sportage, Sportage. Now I'm getting
Just
confused.
say Sportage or in Canada,
Okay, so
eh?
the hybrid base model is under $40,000 in Canada. And the hybrid SX model, which is the top trim, is just over $46,000.
Okay, I just want to say something. Just like a year and a half ago, it was $36,000.
Yes, it's
They
gone
put the
up.
price up.
Remember, this does include destination.
Oh, okay.
And freight.
And freight, sure.
Yeah, so they've added that to all prices in Canada now. It's not just Kia, it's all of them. And then the gas model, the EX Premium Sportage, is just over $41,000.
Yeah, so if you're going to go full load on this, you're probably better to get that product. It feels more substantial.
It does.
It's got more of a comfortable ride. So yeah, it's an alternative for those who can't afford the Sportage.
Yes, this or a Corolla Cross Hybrid, and more specifically, which one is sportier?
I wouldn't say either of them are.
But I wouldn't put Corolla Cross.
I wouldn't put
Would
Corolla
you put
Cross.
it as sporty?
I wouldn't put Corolla Cross Hybrid and Sporty in the same sentence. The funny thing is, the Corolla Cross Hybrid comes with a standard sport suspension.
Yeah.
But the steering is so light and there's very little feedback. I would say that this is fun. I wouldn't say it's sporty. I think it's spirited. It's spirited. How's that?
I would say this goes up nicely against the Taos from Volkswagen with the dual clutch transmission. This no longer has a dual clutch. It's got the 8-speed automatic transmission, which I think appeals to more people. Probably a good idea
so
to
what
get
about
rid of
the
it.
notes?
I liked it though.
No, let's get to the notes. That's what I want to know.
Okay, so the Corolla Cross XLE model, the gas model, which is really well equipped, is 38,000 Canadian. And the Corolla Cross Hybrid XSE model, which is the top trim, is under 40,000 Canadian.
Oh my
so
goodness.
it's priced really well.
Yeah.
But you can't get a Corolla Cross Hybrid. Try and find one. What competition would the new Seltos be at par or better than? And also, what trim of the new Seltos is the best bang for your buck?
Okay, I think one of the things is, as I mentioned, this is an alternative to buying a compact utility based on size. And based on size, it's the Volkswagen Taos. It too is available as standard equipment. You don't have to buy the top trim to get the turbo. That comes standard with a turbo and a dual clutch. That is kind of fun to drive. And then the Chevrolet Trailblazer is similar on size too.
I just want to say that when we talk about affordability with the Seltos, it's still there because most of these other models, if you get all the same features that the Seltos has, which is really fully loaded for this subcompact class, something like the Volkswagen Taos, to get all these features is over $40,000. And
Cars are getting expensive,
and
man.
it doesn't come with heated rear seats. And then there's many models like the Crosstrek where there's no power liftgate. So you've really got to drill down. And when we talk about Corolla Cross pricing, doesn't get all of these features either. So let's get into the trims. Let's start with Canada first. The EX Premium trim, which is great value for $36,000.
And it's CVT 2 liter. It's not this turbo.
No, you don't get this 1.6T, but you get all of these features that are in this model, which includes a power driver seat memory, power passenger seat, ventilated front seats, heated rear seats, sunroof, power tailgate. I mean, my goodness, the list goes on. The only two features that you're really not getting that you might want is the Bose sound system and the head-up display. In the US, you're missing a lot of features in general on the Seltos. You don't get a heated steering wheel. You don't get heated rear seats, a power passenger seat, or driver seat memory. They're just not included.
Okay, so the differences between Canada and the US are not just the trims, they're also the buying intentions.
Yeah.
Canadians typically buy one size smaller than Americans. So the focus for the United States will be on Sportage, and this is the best seller in Canada. So you can see that Canadians prefer maybe something smaller and less expensive. And now it's time for our hot topic. What's this one, Andrea?
With the 2024 refresh, where does this stand with competition? Any drawbacks?
Well, I think it's going to be interesting to get to drive the new Hyundai Kona, which is the direct competitor to this, to see what the hits and misses are between the two brands. But I think the number one thing is that Kona is available with a full EV. This isn't. There's no real fuel economy champ in the Seltos line.
No, you don't get a hybrid. If you want a hybrid, something like the Nero would be a better option for you. There isn't going to be a hybrid coming on this platform. Maybe there'll be changes when they do a whole new Seltos. This also doesn't have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on the larger touchscreen. You can use an aftermarket dongle for that, but the feedback I get from viewers and followers is that they say, look, if I'm buying a brand new vehicle, I just want wireless. I don't want to worry about a dongle. So those are kind of some of the concerns.
Yeah, but the thing is, Andrea, if they include it, then we won't be able to say dongle.
That's true.
That is kind of
dongle.
Fun. What are all of the specs that you want to know in our vital stats?
Let's start with pricing. We'll do Canada first and then move on to the US. The first front-wheel drive model starts at just under $28,000, and the top X-Line 1.6T is just under $41,000. In the US, the first front-wheel drive model starts at just under $25,000, and the top SX 1.6T is just under $30,000.
Here's the fuel economy for the base 2-liter. 8.8 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 7.5 on the highway. That's 27 miles per gallon city, 31 miles per gallon highway. For this 1.6-liter turbo, it's 9.4 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 8.7 on the highway. That's 25 miles per gallon city, 27 miles per gallon highway. The Seltos is not rated for towing, and the warranty is 5 years, 100,000 kilometers, or 60,000 miles. So we've already touched on some of the competitors, but what's the official horsepower and how much do they cost?
For your consideration, 4 vehicles for you to consider.
Up first is the Honda HR-V with a 2-liter 4-cylinder, 158 horsepower, and a starting price just under $29,000.
The Toyota Corolla Cross with a 2-liter 4-cylinder, 169 horsepower, and a starting price of just over $26,000.
The Volkswagen Taos with a 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, 158 horsepower, and a starting price just under $27,000.
The Chevrolet Trailblazer with a 1.3-liter turbocharged 3-cylinder, 155 horsepower, and a starting price just over $27,000.
So there are 4 subcompact crossovers for you to consider.
Lightning round. 2 things we like, 2 things we like to see improved.
I like the comfort level of the Seltos.
I like the size.
What I'd like to see is that top trim X-Line in Canada come down a bit on pricing.
Also, throw in a hybrid or something. These are not thrifty on fuel.
No. The Seltos got a nice refresh. It still keeps its practicality and affordability.
If you don't want to go for a compact utility, this is a great replacement. I mean the car, not Andrea.
Oh my God.